Alright, so we are back for another Dokkan battle video, and in today's video we are going to be looking at the full Dragon Ball Heroes team, or at least the Superclass side of it. So, I decided to make the most stacked Dragon Ball Heroes team I could make, with, obviously, like I said, the Superclass side, and this is what I got. Now, there's probably a couple options you could switch out. I think a couple of these units I just threw on the team because, you know, they're new, and I want to showcase them, but, like, the Super Saiyan Blue Vegeta right here, look, his card art is beautiful, his animation's really clean. But in terms of his kit, this boy sucks. I don't know what's it with Dokkan and like these Vegeta units just being bad, but for some reason, they really didn't like this guy. I think the only good Vegeta unit I can think of is LR Vegeta and Trunks, but other than them, I think most Vegeta units have just kind of been a fumble, and unfortunately, this guy does fall into that category. Now, it's not to say he's completely useless, he's still really good, but I did mainly throw him on this team just because he's new, but everyone else is going to be really, really good. Of course, Limit Breaker Super Saiyan 4 Vegito, crazy useful unit. The Easy A Super Saiyan 4 Vegito is actually really good. Me, personally, wasn't expecting him to be as good as they made him. They gave him some damage reduction and then just bumped the stats up, which, of course, we knew his stats were going to go up. But the damage reduction was a really good addition that I definitely didn't see coming, and it was really good in his kit. And then a couple other units. I mean, dude, this Xeno Goku, I don't think he's ever not going to be good on a full Heroes team. We've got the Super Saiyan 4 Gohan. I mean, just everyone on here, really good. I think the only two units that are bad is the Limit Breaker Super Saiyan 4 Goku and then the Vegeta. But I don't even think that's fair saying they're bad, because they're not bad. How do I want to say this? They're just not as good as the other units, right? And even Super Saiyan 4 Gohan, he still has his issues. Like, the damage reduction is nice, but his defense sometimes isn't really going to be high enough to go well with the damage reduction. So this guy has, I think, 40%, which is good. But when you're only at, like, 500k-ish defense, that's not insane. That's in the range where you're tanking normals and you might just barely survive a super. Type advantage, you're definitely going to survive. In fact, you're going to tank it for like, you know, double digits to 100k. Type neutral, you're starting to take a little bit of damage, like maybe 300, 400k. And then type disadvantage, I really recommend hiding this guy because I think he's going to take a lot of damage. But anyway, we got the main unit that we're going to be showcasing, Limit Breaker Super Saiyan 4 Vegito. I'm sure all of you already know what he does. I'm sure most of you have already seen the showcases. I know I'm really late on this, but I really wanted to get a video out because I know this team is really fun. It sucks most of the time, but like I said, it's a really fun team. So, Limit Breaker Super Saiyan 4 Vegito is sitting here at 60% damage reduction. I can't show it because the details aren't translated yet, but he's got 60% damage reduction for, I think, the first 6 turns. Unfortunately, it does drop off after the first 6 turns, and then you can keep 30% if you have a full Heroes team, but other than that, unfortunately, defensively, he's not necessarily amazing, so we don't get defense on Super. And then we do get some defense on Super from our like kit, but it's not an insane amount. So right here, we're looking really good because we got the 60% damage reduction, damn near a 14 million attack stat, and we didn't get the additional. But then this Vegito sitting at 10 million. Dude, this rotation right here, very good. Look at that, 8.1 million crit. I mean, Limit Breaker Super Saiyan 4 Vegito, my only issue with him comes after the 6th turn. Because after then, you lose the 30% damage reduction, so then you drop down to just 30% damage reduction, and you only get that depending on if you surround him with the right units. So, if you throw him on a random team with no grade 8 power, no crossover category allies, unfortunately, this guy isn't going to have any damage reduction. And without the damage reduction, no. Just no. He's not going to be good enough whatsoever. His stats are getting to around, I think, like 600, 700k-ish, which is really good for defense. So that's pretty good with the 60% damage reduction, but then once you throttle it down to 30%, you know, it's alright, and then once you get rid of that, then it's like, okay, we can't run this guy now, because, you know, events are just hitting way too hard. I mean, look at the new Hearts Red Zone stage. That boy is hitting for like 6.5. Now, granted, you can seal him, you can do all these things to him, but still, 6.5 is pretty crazy. So you could see where events are kind of going towards. And just imagine 9th year anniversary. Imagine the difficult content we're going to get for that. You know, units, or I say units, enemies are going to actually start hitting for like, you know, maybe 4 million, maybe 5 million. And then it's going to get to a point where we can't seal them, or we can't stun them, or do this and that to them. So then these units are just going to have to be really good defensively. And unfortunately, there are situations where this Vegito can get cooked. But there's also a lot of situations where this guy's going to be absolutely insane, like right here. We can do the active skill. We're at 300k defense start of turn with 60% damage reduction. Obviously very good, but a couple things to keep in mind is this is a really good rotation for him. We got 6 out of 7 links activated, so we've got Fuse Fighter, Sand Roar, Super Saiyan, Fierce Battle, which all give a lot of stats. Also, we have a lot of support from the Super Saiyan 4 Vegito, so this is a really good turn for him. So just something you're going to want to keep in mind. But to be fair, this is a very realistic rotation. You can run this in most content, and I think it's kind of implied that you should, because like this Vegito is really good for slot 2, and then this guy's obviously more geared towards slot 1 because he has that 60% damage reduction for the first 6 turns. So this should work as a rotation, but keep in mind, you have to run this as a rotation. So if you don't have the Super Saiyan 4 Vegito, then running this guy with a good linking partner can be kind of tricky. I mean, I guess there's the LR Super Saiyan 4 Goku, but then at that point, you have to surround other units with them. But he just came out on Global, so I don't know if a lot of people have him. So it gets tricky once it comes to this team building with these Heroes units, because of course they're kind of restricted. But as long as you pull a couple of these units that are really top tier, then you should be very good with this Vegito and have an amazing setup for him. But anyway, we do have the active skill. I've been rambling on long enough. Let's play this. God damn, 15 million. All right, bro. I mean, look, I was about to go off on him a little. I was going to say, all right, look, the animations, some of it look really clean, but there's a couple parts that looks a little funky. But, dude, for a 15 million attack stat, I don't care, really. Or 15 million damage with that crit. That's insane. And if I'm not mistaken, it's a guaranteed crit. I'm not entirely sure on that, but I'm pretty sure he gets the guaranteed crit on, his active skill. And then with the guaranteed crit, this guy obviously is going to be doing a lot of damage. Like, this is a very good unit overall. It's just the main issue with him is that, I don't want to say his teams suck, because they don't, but the restrictions for him to be on certain teams isn't really amazing, because it's mainly Giant Ape Power and then Crossover. Giant Ape Power can be pretty good, but by no means is it necessarily a good category. It can only look kind of impressive if you've got the LR Super Saiyan 4 Goku, if you've got every one of these Heroes units, so the Super Saiyan 4 Vegito, if you've got, obviously, the Limit Breaker Super Saiyan 4 Vegito as well, and then if you've got maybe this guy, and then, I don't know, I guess there's, like, the GT Duo, if you want to throw them on the team, and then those are really the only good, like, Super Saiyan 4 orientated units I can think of, and, I mean, that is most units on a team. I think I just mentioned, like, 5 units, so you could build a pretty solid team around that, but then leader skills and all that start to make it kind of tricky, because team building is kind of tricky with these guys. So I'm just saying, Heroes units being restricted makes them a lot less fun, because you have to be on such specific scenarios with them to get their passive activated. And of course, that's not really fun, because we want to just be able to throw whatever unit on whatever team. But anyway, we do have this active skill. We're going to go ahead and pop this, see the damage it does. Keep in mind, we're missing a lot of links. Yeah, you can see it dropped to 6.6. So it did crit, which means I'm pretty sure it is a guaranteed crit on his active skill. But this rotation right here for Vegito is not amazing. His stats did jump up. Okay, so he gets these stats on Super, and his active skill does count as a super attack effect, so you can see the stats jump up a little. So basically 600k defense with 60% damage reduction. Am I saying that's amazing? No. Am I saying that's pretty good, considering he has good animations and it's a Super Saiyan 4 Limit Breaker Vegito, so, he's just a really cool unit all around? Yeah, I think that's pretty good considering, but just keep in mind what you're getting into with this guy. He's not amazing, and he's meant to be on the Heroes team. So if you're not running the Heroes team, if you don't have a lot of these Heroes units, don't summon, because this isn't just one of those banners where it's like, okay, let me just summon on here, I'm a beginner, let me just pull a unit and I can throw them on whatever team I want. No, not like that whatsoever. Unfortunately, they make these Heroes units extremely restricted, like I've said for like the 7th time in the video, which I really don't get. I mean, I've said this, in so many videos recently, but the best thing about these Heroes units is that they're such obscure ideas. Limit Breaker Super Saiyan 4 Vegito, Evil Blue Vegeta, Dark Janemba, Golden Metal Cooler. Like, it's such random things. So when you have units like these in Dokkan, it makes them, like, very useful on a lot of different teams. You could have a random Vegeta that's on Corroded Body and Mind. He's on, Vegeta Family. He's on all these really weak teams. I know that's a bad example, but you know what I'm saying? They're on a lot of really weak and crazy teams. So when you make them restricted to Crossover and Dragon Ball Heroes, I feel like that completely ruins the whole point that could have made them very good, right? It's just because you could throw them wherever. But maybe that's just me. Dokkan's going to be doing their thing. I mean, they've done this with most Heroes units, so it's very clear they don't change on, like, making these units different. They're just going to keep them restricted on the Heroes team, which maybe if we can start getting some LRs for this category, if we can get just better units in general for this category as well, then I think this could be a really, really good team. But for now, while we don't have both of those things, unfortunately, it does kind of just seem like a weak team. I mean, I don't really feel like there's any getting around that. So what we're going to do, we're going to go ahead and cut to a difficult event. None of these units stack, none of them build up or anything like that. So they're going to look the same throughout the video. So there's no real need to keep on showing them in here. So with all that shown, let's go ahead and cut to the difficult event test. All right, so we're here fighting Metal Cooler Core. We got a pretty good rotation right here. We're at like half health. So if we get hit for a super, I think we're going to die. But I'm still curious how much we're going to take. Do we have a Sensu Bean? No, we don't. But might as well pop a Scouter. Why not? So yeah, pretty good rotation right here. We do have the active skill with Vegito. Whatever. I guess we can play it. I think I have the skip on. How much damage is this doing, though? Like 10 million? Yeah, 8.4. So still pretty good. I mean, yeah, that active skill can hit hard. It's just, you know, I don't know. I feel like the enemy's going to do a bit of damage to this guy, especially if, you know, you don't have that full damage reduction activated. But I think that's the only real issue with him. I think an easy fix would have been if they gave him defense on super, or if they just gave him a little bit higher stats start of turn. Because you can see here, double digits, easy double digits. Almost a 14 million attack stat. Dude, that's crazy. I mean, yeah, his damage is good. Look at that. Crit, too. Can we get super? Can you super us, please? Okay, no super. Or they could Super Saiyan 4 Vegito. That would be cool. Get the counter in the video. Although, knowing me, he's definitely not going to counter it. Okay, yeah, shouldn't have said anything. Thanks, Vegito. 50% chance, by the way. How much is he taking, though? You know what? Am I really saying that's bad? Well, yeah, I am, because on a Heroes team, ain't no way you're going to be above 700k HP. I was going to say, like, on most teams, you're pushing 800k HP most of the time, so 700k from, you know, the Super is still in range of surviving, but no, on the Heroes team, because there's no LRs, because everyone has, I don't want to say low stats, because some of the Easy A's do have high stats, but just because the stats are generally a little bit lower because there's no LRs on the team, you're not going to be around 800k HP. You're mostly around like 500, 600k. So, no, that's still not really the greatest, but he had that 50% chance to dodge. I don't really know what happened there, but I guess that pretty much has been the video. Not a crazy long video. I just wanted to briefly showcase this team. Let me know what you guys are thinking of the Super Class side of the Dragon Ball Heroes team. And then soon, we're going to showcase the Extreme Class side. I'm excited. I think the Extreme Class side is a lot better. I mean, that's not to say these guys are bad, but Super Saiyan 3 Goku Black's amazing. And then this Janemba's amazing. The Cooler's amazing. And the Dark King. Dude, top tier units. Like, they're crazy on the crossover team. The Broly's aren't really crazy, but, you know, they're new. We got to showcase them. So, anyway, that has been the video. I hope you guys enjoyed. Let me know which Super Class Hero unit is your favorite out of all of the Super Class Hero units released. And I'll catch y'all in the next one.